Greetings, Jesse Vaughn Sr., Stationary Air Scientist here. Now, what I have for you today is a real treaty. The Antarctic Treaty from the National Science Foundation. Nice of them to send that to me. And we'll go ahead and read this off. Now, I had a lot of people that commented saying that they didn't think that I understood this treaty. Well, they're half right. But not only did I not understand this treaty fully, I know they don't understand this treaty for shit. So, I'm going to read it to you now and give you my commentary as we go along, okay? The 12 nations listed in the preamble below signed the Antarctic Treaty on December 1st, 1959 at Washington, D.C. The treaty entered into force on the 23rd of June, 1961. The 12 signatories became the original 12 consultative nations. As of April 17, 2010, additional nations, Brazil, Bulgaria, China, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Finland, Germany, India, Italy, Netherlands, Peru, Poland, Republic of Korea, Spain, Sweden, Ukraine, and Uruguay, have achieved consultative status by acceding to the treaty and by conducting substantial scientific research in Antarctica. Russia carries forward the signatory privileges and responsibilities established by the former Soviet Union. Another 21 nations have acceded to the Antarctic Treaty: Austria, Belarus, Canada, Colombia, Cuba, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Denmark, Estonia, Greece, Guatemala, Hungary, Malaysia, Monaco, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea, Portugal, Romania, Slovak Republic, Switzerland, Turkey, and Venezuela. These nations agreed to abide by the treaty and may attend consultative meetings as observers. The 50 Antarctic Treaty nations represent about 2/3 of the world's human population. Consultative meetings have been held approximately every other year since the treaty entered into force, but since 1993 they have been held more frequently. Each meeting has generated recommendations regarding operations of the treaty that, when ratified by the participating governments, become binding on the parties to the treaty. That means they've added shit to it since then, and there's a lot more stuff that they've added onto it since the original comings of it. Let's see. Additional meetings with the Antarctic Treaty systems have produced agreements: conservation of seals, conservation of living resources, and comprehensive environmental protection. For detailed information about the treaty system, please visit the Antarctic Treaty Secretariat website at www. I don't even know how to... Goodbyes. That's a weird-ass tag. Anyways, what follows is the complete text of the Antarctic Treaty. The headings for each article were added by the National Science Foundation and are unofficial. That's what I just read. Okay, here we go. Preamble. The governments of Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, the French Republic, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, the Union of South Africa, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the United States of America, recognizing that it is in the interest of all mankind that Antarctica shall continue forever to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and shall not become the scene or object of international discord. Acknowledging the substantial contributions to scientific knowledge resulting from international cooperation in scientific investigations in Antarctica, convinced that the establishment of a firm foundation for the continuation and development of such cooperation on the basis of freedom on scientific investigation in Antarctica as applied during the International Geophysical Year accords with the interests of science and the progress of all mankind. Convinced also that a treaty ensuring the use of Antarctica for peaceful purposes only and the continuance of international harmony in Antarctica will further the purposes and principles embodied in the Charter of the United Nations. Have agreed as followed. Article 1, Antarctica for peaceful purposes only. Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. There shall be prohibited, inter alia, any measures of a military nature, such as the establishment of military bases and fortifications and carrying out of military maneuvers, as well as the testing of any types of weapons. Our military does that all the time up there. The present treaty shall not prevent the use of military personnel or equipment for scientific research or for any other peaceful purposes. How convenient. Let's see. Article 2. Freedom of scientific investigation to continue. Freedom of scientific investigation in Antarctica and cooperation toward that end, as applied during the International Geophysical Year, shall continue, subject to the provisions of the present treaty. Article 3. Plans and results to be exchanged. In order to promote international cooperation in scientific investigation in Antarctica, as provided for in Article 2 of the present treaty, the contracting parties agree that, to the greatest extent feasible and practicable, A. Information regarding plans for scientific programs in Antarctica shall be exchanged to permit maximum economy and efficiency of operations. B. Scientific personnel shall be exchanged in Antarctica between expeditions and stations. Scientific observations and results from Antarctica shall be exchanged and made freely available. In implementing this article, every encouragement shall be given to the establishment of cooperative working relations with those specialized agencies of the United Nations and other international organizations having a scientific or technical interest in Antarctica. So basically, never mind it says up here that you can't, establish any military bases or do military maneuvers there. As long as you're a military and you're there for scientific reasons, it's okay. Like I said, real convenient. Article 4. Territorial claims. Nothing contained in the present treaty shall be interpreted as A. A renunciation by any contracting party of previously asserted rights or claims to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica. A renunciation or diminution by any contracting party of any basis of claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica, which it may have, whether as a result of activities or those of its nationals in Antarctica or otherwise. Prejudicing the position of any contracting party as regards its recognition or non-recognition of any other state's rights or claim on or basis of claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica. No acts or activities taking place while the present treaty is in force shall constitute a basis for asserting, supporting, or denying a claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica. No new claim or enlargement of an existing claim to territorial sovereignty shall be inserted while the present treaty is in force. Article 5. Nuclear explosions prohibited. Any nuclear explosions in Antarctica and the disposal thereof radioactive waste materials shall be prohibited. In the event of the conclusion of international agreements concerning the usage of nuclear energy, including nuclear explosions and the disposal of radioactive waste material, to which all of the contracting parties whose representatives are entitled to participate in the meetings provided for under Article 9 and parties, the rules established under such agreements shall apply in Antarctica. Now, let me see here. Nuclear weapons do not exist. Now, granted, they have some really nasty shit bombs, okay? They can do some damage, but they're not nuclear. Nuclear is just a scare tactic, all right? The nuclear weapons platform is a way to rake more money from you, just like the space race. But you got to understand, though, they do have some nasty bombs, and the first thing they did when they found out that there was a dome and they came across Antarctica was they went up there and Operation Fishbowl started blowing bombs up left and right, day and night, at the dome, trying to see if they could crack it, see if they could get through it. That's how stupid these idiots were. But that's the military presence that's not supposed to be there. We're the ones there doing it. You dig? All right. The area provisions of treaty shall apply by the area 6. Okay, yeah, here we go. Area covered by the treaty. Article 6. The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th degree south latitude, including all ice shelves, but nothing in the present treaty shall prejudice or in any way affect the rights or the exercise of the rights of any state under international law with regard to the high seas within that area. That means you can't go past the 60th parallel, like I said before. That's what that means right there. Article 6, for you assholes that were asking, can you tell me what page that was on? Article 6, area covered by treaty is what that's under. Let me read that again. The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of the 60th degree south latitude, including all ice shelves, but nothing in the present treaty shall prejudice or in any way affect the rights or the exercise of the rights of any state under international law with regard to the high seas within that area. So that means they don't care if you go and get lost out at sea and die or whatever. You can go wherever you want as long as you don't go past the 60th parallel, or you can't get anywhere near it. Actually, they'll meet you before you get to it. So that's a whole 1,000 miles away from the ice ring known as Antarctica. All right, moving on. Article 7, free access for observation and inspection. Here's where the tricky wordplay comes into play here. In order to promote the objectives and ensure the observation of the provisions of the present treaty, each contracting party whose representatives are entitled to participate in the meetings referred to in Article 9 of the treaty shall have the right to designate observers to carry out any inspection provided for by the present article. Observers shall be nationals of the contracting parties which designate them. The names of the observers shall be communicated to every other contracting party having the right to designate observers, and like notice shall be given of the termination of their appointment. So that means that the only people that are going to Antarctica are the people that are approved by the handlers, by these folks right here, all right, by contracting parties, basically countries. The ones that are agreeing to this, it's their job to pick the people, their representatives, or their whatever you would call them, ambassadors, to go to Antarctica. Which, mind you, people like Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, these are all people that have notably been going to Antarctica. What the fuck could they offer to anybody scientifically other than their fucking brain? I just would like to, really, if anybody can clarify that for me, I'd like to know what Donald Trump would have to offer scientifically to Antarctica. Moving on. Alright, each observer designated in accordance with the provisions of paragraph 1 of this article shall have complete freedom of access at any time to any or all areas of Antarctica. Each observer designated in accordance with the provisions of paragraph 1 of this article shall have complete freedom of access at any time to any and all areas of Antarctica. Are you one of those? I'm not. I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure I would have got the memo. I'm pretty sure you would have got the memo. So, yeah, that's not us. Now, everyday, average Joe can't go to Antarctica, as I said before, and that's what it says right there. For those of you that really don't understand what this treaty is saying, that's what it's saying, that you can't go there. Alright. Number 3, all areas of Antarctica, including all stations, installations, and equipment within those areas, and all ship and aircrafts at point of discharging and embarking cargoes or personnel in Antarctica shall be open at all times to inspection by any observers designated in accordance with paragraph 1 of this article. Aerial observation may be carried out at any time over any or all areas of Antarctica by any of the contracting parties having the right to designate observers. Each contracting party shall, at the time when the present treaty enters into force for it, inform the other contracting parties and thereafter shall give them notice in advance of A. all expeditions to and within Antarctica on the part of the ships of nationals and all expeditions to Antarctica organized in or proceeding from its territory. So that means the contracting parties, the countries, they are in control of all their expeditions that they allow to happen, which are all controlled. And there's like 10 charters, and they're all owned by one company. I don't know how you don't see the room for financial deception there. Let's see. All expeditions within Antarctica, ships national. Okay. All stations in Antarctica occupied by its nationals, and C. any military personnel or equipment intended to be introduced by it into Antarctica, subject to the conditions prescribed in paragraph 2 of Article 1 of the present treaty. Remember, no military personnel allowed, but as long as it coincides, as long as they are, as long as they made up to paragraph 2 of Article 1 of the present treaty, then they're okay. So that means the military presence that's supposedly not supposed to be there, that isn't there, they're there. And they're doing what they want to do in the name of science. Alright, moving along. Article 8. Personnel under jurisdiction of their own states. In order to facilitate the exercise of their functions under the present treaty, and without prejudice to the respective positions of the contracting parties relating to the jurisdiction over all other persons in Antarctica, observers designated under paragraph 1 of Article 7, that's not us, remember, and scientific personnel exchanged under subparagraph 1b of Article 3 of the treaty, and members of the staffs accompanying any such persons shall be subject only to the jurisdiction of the contracting party of which they are nationals in respect to all acts or omissions occurring while they are in Antarctica for the purpose of exercising their functions. So basically, as long as you can do whatever you want there if you're a guest, if you've been approved to go there, if you're an Illuminati Mason shitbag, I guess you get approved to go there, but you got to be one of those high-ranking blue blood Ivy League motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Alright, let's see. Without prejudice to provision Article 1. Okay, without prejudice to the provision of Article 1, adoption of measures and proceeding. Okay, I read that. Article 9. Treaty states to meet periodically. Representatives of the contracting parties named in the preamble to the present treaty shall meet at the city of Canberra within 2 months after date of entry into force of the treaty, and thereafter at suitable intervals and places for the purpose of exchanging information, consulting together on matters of common interest pertaining to Antarctica, and formulating and considering and recommending to their governments measures in furtherance of the principles and objectives of the treaty, including measures regarding A. use of Antarctica for peaceful purposes only, B. facilitation of scientific research in Antarctica, C. facilitation of international scientific cooperation in Antarctica. Well, I don't know what the military falls under any of those, so There's nothing scientific or peaceful or scientifically researchful about the military. Any of them. Okay, let's see. D. Facilitation of the exercise of the rights of inspection provided for in Article 7 of the treaty. Questions relating to the exercise of jurisdiction in Antarctica. Preservation and conservation of living resources in Antarctica. 2. Each contracting party which has become a party to the present treaty by accession under Article 13 shall be entitled to appoint representatives to participate in the meetings referred to in paragraph 1 of the present article. Remember, shall be entitled to appoint representatives to participate. Again, not you, not me. During such time as the contracting party demonstrates its interest in Antarctica by conducting substantial scientific research activity there, such as the establishment of a scientific station or the dispatch of a scientific expedition. Okay. 3. Reports from the observers referred to in Article 7 of the present treaty shall be transmitted to the representatives of the contracting parties participating in the meetings referred to in paragraph 1 of the present article. 4. The measures referred to in paragraph 1 of this article shall become effective when approved by all the contracting parties whose representatives were entitled to participate in the meetings held to consider those measures. Remember, the measures referred to in paragraph 1 of this article shall become effective when approved by all contracting parties whose representatives were entitled to participate in the meeting. So whoever they chose to participate for them and represent us, little people, that's who gets to go there. Article 10. Discourages activities contrary to the treaty. Well, imagine that. Like, military presence? They're really discouraging that, huh? Each of the contracting parties undertakes to exert appropriate efforts consistent with the Charter of the United Nations to the end that no one engages in any activity in Antarctica contrary to the principles or purposes of the present treaty. Yes, don't get caught taking a shit if you actually go. Article 11. Settlements of disputes. Number 1. If any disputes arises between two or more of the contracting parties concerning the interpretation of or application of the present treaty, those contracting parties shall consult among themselves with a view to having the dispute resolved by negotiation, inquiry, mediation, conciliation, arbitration, judicial settlement, or other peaceful means of their own choice. Number 2, any dispute of this character not resolved shall, with the consent in each case of all parties to the dispute, be referred to the International Court of Justice for settlement. But failure to reach agreement on reference to the International Court shall not absolve parties to the dispute from the responsibility of continuing to seek to resolve it by any other various peaceful means referred to in paragraph 1 of this article. Which they're trying to say that even if they go into war over other things, they're not going to abandon their oath to each other over this Antarctic Treaty. How convenient is that, right? There's another thing that they came up with that they all agreed upon, and it's called the Geneva Convention, which are basically rules of warfare. They can't. All these people, these representatives, these contracting parties, they all got together and decided how our people would die in warfare. What's humane and what's not. Like chemical warfare, bio warfare, which our government uses all the time. They'll give it to other countries and let them use it. It's no difference. But really, I think they don't really war at all. I think they use that as their way of controlling the masses, wooing people's brains, basically controlling how people feel about certain things. Basically, that's what war does. And I believe that these people that come up with these rules of warfare, the Geneva Convention, these guys that, these contracting parties and their representatives that they choose, I think they are all doing their job to lie to us and natural resource this earth completely out from underneath us, and kill us in the process if they can. Have it all to themselves. I don't really know what possesses people like that other than the devil. That's really the only. This is the devil's world, like Flint True says, man. It is the devil's world. The Bible tells you that. He's the prince of the air, the principality of this region, of this realm, and you don't gotta like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I roll with Yeshua. So that's why I like doing this right here, man. I like to let you people really know exactly what it is that these people that are representing us are doing behind our backs. They say that they're totally transparent, but all this shit is only if you are an approved representative. If you are handpicked, a contracting party handpicked. That is not everyday you and me, Joe Blow. That is people that are selected for a reason. Just like in the elections. They're not elections, they're selections. And Article 12 says, review of treaty possible after 30 years. Well, they've extended that because the treaty can't be questioned until the year 2041. So I guess they got another 30-year extension somewhere along the line. But anyways, that's all I got for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Shalom.